Cincinnati, I want to the address of your emergency.
Somebody please send the police. My niece
Okay,
killed her baby. Please.
What is the address?
5957 Wildwood.
Okay, ma'am.
Lord, help me.
Ma'am, who were you just you were just talking to somebody. Who were you just talking to?
My son, he came over here, he found that I was asleep. And he let his kids in to go to school because they go from my house. And he seen the baby on my oh my God, help me.
Listen to me, I need you to stop crying, okay? Stop crying.
Oh
I need you to help. I need you to take a deep breath and tell me what happened.
Ma'am, please send the police right away.
Ma'am, you weren't crying when I heard you talking to him. You were fine. And then when I picked up, you started crying. I need you to tell me what's going on.
Ma'am, I am crying. I was outside screaming.
What happened?
But he keeps telling me to calm down.
What happened?
All I know is my son came in here and woke me up and said, Mama, the baby's dead. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What I'm going to do because she killed this baby. Oh, God.
Okay, why are you saying she killed the baby?
Because the baby is in the room. Here, talk to my son, brother. How
old is the baby?
The baby is 3 months. Oh, my God, I'm going to jail.
Hello?
What happened?
Can you please?
Where is the 3-month-old baby?
Listen, lady. The baby is deceased.
Okay.
A mother's love is supposed to be the safest thing a child ever knows. From the first cry, from the first breath, that bond is supposed to be instinctive, protective, unbreakable. And for most mothers, it is. But there is a condition, rare, fast-moving, and terrifyingly misunderstood, where something goes wrong in the brain in the weeks after childbirth. Not baby blues, not stress, a full psychiatric emergency that can make a mother a danger to the very child she would have died to protect. They call it postpartum psychosis. And on March 16, 2015, in Cincinnati, Ohio, a little boy was dropped off at his grandmother's house just like any other school morning. But when he walked into that kitchen, what he found was something no child, no adult, no human being should ever have to see. 3-month-old Janiyah Watkins was on the kitchen counter, head separate. Her mother, 20-year-old Deasia Watkins, was found asleep in her room, covered in blood. And the question that would haunt this case for years wasn't just what happened, it was, how could a mother do this? Was she really possessed by a demon? And was enough done to prevent this horrific outcome?
This is, and I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Samarco here in a second, but this is one of the most disturbing cases I've ever seen in my life. It's a good reason to retire at some point.
Deasia was born to a mother named Tina Johnson, a woman who, by all documented accounts, was not equipped to raise a child. A psychiatrist evaluating Tina in 1997 noted significant deficiencies in her parenting and intellectual functioning. She had been diagnosed with depression, mild intellectual disability, and schizoaffective disorder, and she struggled with polysubstance abuse. Deasia's father, Terrence Watkins, was either incarcerated or simply absent. He was never a stable presence. So from the very beginning, Deasia's home was not a home in any real sense of the word. The apartment was consistently filthy. There wasn't enough food or clothing. On some occasions, she was left completely alone, a toddler, fending for herself. Other times, she was left with strangers. And then it got worse. Court records reviewed by the Cincinnati Enquirer revealed that in 1998, a teenager was sexually assaulted inside the family apartment while looking after 3-year-old Deasia and her brother. The prosecutor at the time stated there were reasonable grounds to believe the children were in immediate danger. That same year, the court took custody of Deasia and her brother. Because they had different fathers, the siblings were separated. Deasia was sent to live with an aunt in Cincinnati. For a brief window, social workers reported she was happy and doing well. Then personal problems made it impossible for the aunt to continue, and 5-year-old Deasia was given up again. That word, again, would define her childhood. A family friend named Barbara Owens stepped forward and offered to care for her. Owens had raised 10 children of her own and was confident she could provide something Deasia had never really had: stability. And for a while, she was right. Social workers noted that Deasia was thriving. She was bright. She had potential. She had grandchildren around her to play with and laugh with. But even in that stability, the damage was visible. Owens said, "You could tell she was holding stuff in." Deasia would occasionally ask her therapist whether her biological mother still thought about her. It was the question of a child who had been left so many times she couldn't stop wondering why. Then in 2005, her biological mother, Tina, wrote a letter to the court. It said, "I can take care of my children now. I got myself together, and I miss my children very much." She filed a petition to regain custody and even accused Owens of neglect. Owens wasn't too worried. Tina's track record was poor. She dropped out of the court-mandated drug treatment program, missed supervised visits, skipped Deasia's counseling sessions, and ultimately failed to appear at the custody hearing. But the turmoil still hit Deasia hard. Her therapist reported to the court that the constant back and forth was affecting her. Her grades dropped. She was torn between loyalty to Owens, who had actually shown up for her, and a biological mother who kept promising to. 2 years later, in 2007, that tension finally broke Owens down. The harassment from Tina's relatives became too much. With a heavy heart, she gave up custody, and Deasia was placed in a shelter before eventually being taken in by a relative named Michelle Johnson. By 2014, 19-year-old Deasia had moved out and was living with her boyfriend, James Brown, and then she became pregnant. Barbara Owens, the woman who had done more for Deasia than almost anyone, stayed in touch, and she said Deasia was genuinely excited. She told Owens, "I want to have a baby so I can give her the love I never had." It was one of the most heartbreaking things anyone in this story ever said, because it was real, and it was exactly the kind of hope that made what came next so impossible to prepare for. On December 14, 2014, Deasia Watkins and her boyfriend, James Brown, welcomed their baby girl into the world. They named her Janiyah. And by all accounts, the beginning felt like a new chapter. James was present. Deasia was excited. But just weeks after Janiyah was born, something started to shift. On January 25, 2015, just after midnight, multiple neighbors called 911. They reported hearing Deasia screaming and Janiyah crying. Something was wrong inside that apartment, and whatever it was loud enough that people outside couldn't ignore it. When police arrived, Deasia refused to open the door. Officers threatened to force their way in. Eventually, a young man, James's cousin, opened the door and let them inside. What they found wasn't a woman having a bad night. Deasia's behavior was erratic and completely disconnected from reality. And then, as officers tried to take the baby from her arms for safety, Deasia snapped. She refused to let go and then attempted to choke 7-week-old Janiyah. Officers were able to separate them and get the baby to safety. As they left with Janiyah, Deasia collapsed, passing out on the floor with her eyes open. She was transported to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center for a psychiatric evaluation. The following day, doctors confirmed their diagnosis: postpartum psychosis. She was admitted to Deaconess Hospital on a 72-hour hold. Now, postpartum psychosis is not the same as postpartum depression. It's not sadness or anxiety after childbirth. It is a full psychiatric emergency. It can include hallucinations, delusions, confused thinking, and in the most severe cases, a danger to the baby.
Researchers estimate that untreated postpartum psychosis carries an infanticide risk of around 4%. It moves fast, and it requires immediate, serious medical intervention. Deasia had it, and everyone around her now knew it. A safety plan was put in place. Deasia was prescribed antipsychotic medication and given strict rules. She was only allowed supervised contact with Janiyah, and James or his sister had to be present at all times when she was near the baby. But a caseworker visit revealed something alarming. Deasia hadn't filled her prescription. The caseworker was direct. If you don't take your medication, it is not safe for Janiyah to be in this home with you. James echoed that. He told Deasia plainly, comply with the safety plan or leave. Since the lease was in his name, he had the authority to enforce it. Deasia agreed, reluctantly, and partly, caseworkers noted, because she admitted she had nowhere else to go. But compliance and intention are two different things, because a week later, when a caseworker made another unannounced visit, she still couldn't confirm whether Deasia had filled her prescription or not. And by February, Deasia had moved out of James's apartment entirely and into the home of her aunt, Deborah. Baby Janiyah, for a brief period, remained safely in James's care. But a court date was coming, and what happened at that hearing would set off a chain of decisions that nobody, not the judge, not the caseworkers, not even Deborah herself, fully understood the consequences of.
On March 6, 2015, the case went before a juvenile court judge. And the judge did exactly what the situation called for. Because James's name had been left off Janiyah's birth certificate, he was required to complete paternity testing before he could be granted formal custody. And because of Deasia's documented psychiatric history, the choking incident, the hospitalization, the diagnosis, the judge ruled that she needed to be evaluated again before being allowed anywhere near her baby unsupervised. The bottom line, neither parent could take Janiyah home. So the judge ordered baby Janiyah placed in the temporary guardianship of her aunt, Deborah, the same woman Deasia had already moved in with. The court order was clear. Deasia was not to be in the home. She was not to have access to the baby. The Department of Job and Family Services had done their part. The order went out, the paperwork was filed, and social workers believed the situation was under control. But the order and the reality were two completely different things. When a caseworker visited Deborah's home, Deborah confirmed that Deasia was not coming around, that she was following the rules, that everything was fine. Except it wasn't. What was actually happening behind that front door was that Deasia had moved back in, and not just visiting, she had taken over as Janiyah's primary caregiver again, fully. How did this happen? Deborah, it turns out, was dealing with serious personal health problems of her own. Caring for a newborn alone was simply too much, and with few options in front of her, she allowed Deasia to stay. Maybe she told herself Deasia seemed better. Maybe she couldn't say no. Maybe she genuinely believed everything would be okay. But Deasia was back in that house, back with that baby, and nobody in the system knew. The last caseworker visit to Deborah's home was on March 13, 2015, just 3 days before everything collapsed. The caseworker left without knowing, and Deasia spent those final days in a home she was court-ordered to stay out of, caring for a baby a judge had specifically ruled she was too dangerous to be around. 3 days later, the morning of March 16th arrived, and so did Robert.
Robert didn't come over for any particular reason. It was just a Monday morning, a routine stop at his mother Deborah's house, the kind of visit that doesn't need a reason. He had his kids with him, and he let them walk in ahead of him. That was the moment everything changed. His young son stepped into the kitchen first, and what that child saw in that kitchen on an ordinary Monday morning is something no child, no person should ever have to carry for the rest of their life. Robert rushed in behind him. He got his children out of that house immediately. Then he went back inside,
because Deborah was still somewhere in there. He found her asleep in her bedroom. He woke her up, and he told her what was in her kitchen. That's when Deborah called 911.
Here, Robert.
Cincinnati 911, where's the address of your emergency?
Somebody please send the police. My niece
Okay,
killed
ma'am.
her baby. Please.
What is the address?
5957 Wildwood.
Okay, ma'am.
Lord, help me.
Ma'am, who were you just you were just talking to somebody. Who were you just talking to?
My son, he came over here, he found that I was asleep. And he let his kids in to go to school because they go from my house. And he seen the baby on my, oh my God, help me.
Listen to me, I need you to stop crying, okay? Stop crying.
Oh,
I need you to take a deep breath and tell me what happened.
Ma'am, please send the police right away.
Ma'am, you weren't crying but I heard you talking to him. You were fine. And then when I picked up, you started crying. I need you to tell me what's going on.
Ma'am, I am crying. I was outside screaming.
What happened?
But he keeps telling me to calm down. I don't
What
know
happened?
All I know is my son came in here and woke me up and said, Mama, the baby's dead. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What I'm going to do because she killed this baby. Oh, God.
Okay, why are you saying she killed the baby?
Because the baby is in the room. Here, talk to my son, brother. I can't talk.
How old is the baby?
The baby is 3 months. Oh, my God, I'm going to jail.
Hello?
What happened?
Police. I don't know. This house is big. I don't know where my little cousin is. So can you please...
Where is the 3-month-old baby?
The baby is on my mama's kitchen counter with his head smashed. Now I need you to please send me...
Okay, is it a male or female?
Know where my little cousin is at. Now if a little girl pop up with a weapon, I'm not gonna have a little cousin no more. So can you please... I know it's protocol. Can you please just send the police?
Okay, I need to know what happened to the baby.
I don't know what happened to the baby. I came into the house, she told me, came into the house, the baby was on the counter. My mom was in the bed asleep. I woke my mom up and we calling you. That's all I know. I don't know nothing else. I have a little cousin, she was here. I don't know
Okay, listen to me. Look. Is the baby breathing?
Listen, lady, the baby is deceased.
Okay. All right, we're setting the police and an ambulance, okay?
Mama.
What is your name, sir?
Mama, shush. Hello?
What is your name?
I'm Robert Stewart.
And who is the mother of the child?
Huh?
Who is the mother?
Deasia. What is Deasia's last name? Watkins.
Is she there right now?
No, I don't know where she's at. That's the problem. I don't know where this little girl is at. I don't even know if she's in this house. It's a big house, lady. Please. I don't want to look for her. So if you please send the police.
Listen to me, sir. We already have the run started, okay?
All right.
So no one has any idea what happened to the child?
Listen, lady, I cannot explain to you what happened because I do not know. Nobody knows. It happened sometime in the middle of the night.
Okay, what do you see when you look at the child?
Look, lady, I don't want to describe the scene. This screen is very, very bad, all right? The little baby head is open, open. I'm not going in there to touch nothing because I don't want to mess nothing up. I'm not going in there to look because I already seen it, but it's very violent. It's a very violent scene, all right? It's very violent.
All right, sir, we have the police and fire department responding out.
All right. I got to go back to the car because my kids is outside. I don't know where this girl is at.
Police arrived within minutes. What they found inside that kitchen stopped seasoned officers in their tracks. Baby Janiyah was on the counter. She had been stabbed at least 15 times. Her tiny arm had been fractured, and she had been decapitated. County Prosecutor Joe Dieters, a man who had seen the worst this city had to offer, stood before cameras the following day and said he had never seen anything quite like it. They found Deborah in the bedroom, completely inconsolable, and in a back room, covered in blood, they found Deasia, asleep. She was taken into custody, transported for psychiatric evaluation, and then booked into Hamilton County Jail on aggravated murder charges. And when detectives finally interrogated her, that's when they realized the scene in that kitchen wasn't even the most disturbing part of this story.
I'm going to turn this over to Dr. Samarco right now. The nature of the injuries of this baby obviously were horrific. And Doctor, you want to say a few words?
I know you've all asked repeatedly in the last 24 hours, and I haven't really wanted to address the injuries directly, but these are images that will be indelibly marked in my memory, and I feel for the whole family what they're going through. But there were multiple stab wounds to the right side of the face and head. There was a fractured right arm, and as most of you have already been implying, and I think some of the neighbors have said, the head was severed from the body. So 3-month-old baby girl. So it was pretty horrific sight.
Any questions? Yeah.
Doctor, the official cause of death on the child.
If you're asked, that's a manner of death, but as far as if you're asking me specifically what are we going to put on the death certificate, we're going to have to talk about it, but obviously decapitation.
When detectives interrogated Deasia Watkins, they didn't get the breakdown they expected. They got something far more unsettling. She described what she did to Janiyah the way someone describes an errand they ran, flatly, calmly, without tears, without remorse. Detectives who had worked homicides for years walked out of that room visibly shaken. And then came the detail that nobody in that investigation could move past. The knife, the same chef's knife used to kill her daughter, had been placed in Janiyah's hand. When asked about it, Deasia told investigators she put it there so people would think the baby did it. That was the moment prosecutors realized what they were dealing with, because that one decision, placing that knife, showed awareness. It showed an understanding of consequence. It showed, as prosecutor David Prem would later argue, that there was an enormous amount of evidence that demonstrated the defendant appreciated the wrongfulness of her conduct. And that single detail would eventually destroy her insanity defense.
Once you got to the kitchen, what happened once you got there?
I took her in there.
Mm-hmm.
I took her from and I killed her.
Where did you get the knife from?
The kitchen.
Where at in the kitchen?
In a knife shop.
Was there a specific reason you grabbed that knife?
No, just grabbed it on the close.
Do you remember what you did with that knife?
Yes.
What did you do?
I stabbed her. Over and over the head and then I cut her in the pocket.
What made you do that?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No.
Do you remember if something started in the bedroom that upset you?
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know? After... What did you do with the knife after that?
Put it in her hand.
Was there a reason that you did that?
Yes.
Why did you put it in her hand?
So it looked like she did it.
So it would look like she did it?
Yes.
Once you started stabbing her, what made you think you needed to cut her head off after that?
She wouldn't die.
She wouldn't die? How do you know she wasn't dead?
She kept breathing and
She kept what?
breathing and moving around.
She kept breathing and moving around
Yes.
even after you were stabbing her?
Yes.
Do you remember how many times you stabbed her?
3 times.
You stabbed her 3 times?
Yes.
What followed was nearly 2 years of courtroom battles. When proceedings began in April 2015, Deasia sat through hearings with blank stares, her attorney arguing she had no idea what was happening around her. A judge ordered treatment and delayed the case 6 months. She wasn't found competent to stand trial until September 2015. She wanted an insanity plea, but 2 out of 3 mental health professionals ruled she didn't meet the legal standard. She rejected a plea deal in November 2016. She still wanted to fight. Then, on February 22, 2017, nearly 2 years after that Monday morning, Deasia Watkins walked into court and pleaded guilty to murder. She stood before the judge and said, "I loved her, regardless of what anybody say." She was sentenced to 15 years to life, eligible for parole in 13 years with time served. Assistant Prosecutor David Prem called it one of the most grotesque crime scenes I've seen in 30 years. The coroner, when asked how many stab wounds Janiyah sustained, said she had simply lost count.
Janiyah Watkins lived for 3 months. She never got a chance to be anyone. She never got to grow into a person, form a memory, or be loved the way she deserved to be loved. She was born into a situation that was already broken before she arrived, and the system that was supposed to protect her failed at every single turn. A caseworker who didn't know the court order was being violated, an aunt who was too sick to cope alone, a prescription that was never filled, and a mother who once told Barbara Owens she wanted to have a baby so she could give her the love she never had. Deasia wasn't born a monster. She was born into chaos, passed between strangers, abandoned repeatedly, and left to raise a child with an untreated psychiatric emergency that everyone around her could see, and nobody stopped in time. That doesn't explain what happened on that kitchen counter, but it does explain how we got there. Rest in peace, baby Janiyah Watkins. Until next time, remember, when someone tells you they're hearing demons, maybe you should believe them. Stay safe, stay wise, and thank you for joining us today. See you in the next story from Hidden Crime Network. Bye for now.